would have never be required to do that. It's just physical movement and breath, and you can put your own energy into it. And I get the same question from Christians, because I come from a Christian background myself. I'm not Hindu. So I learned all of this stuff from young. And I learned it because I had open heart surgery as a child. And when I had that surgery, I had a 70% chance of not living through that surgery. And someone in my community who was Catholic gave me a medallion, and I still have part of it. They were Catholic, so this is like a medallion from the Pope. She went all the way to Italy to have this medallion blessed by the Pope, because my dad was her hairdresser. She didn't want to lose her hairdresser. She wasn't worried about me. She was worried about if my dad lost a daughter, big problem, then he would be sad and my hair wouldn't be so good. You know what I mean? People are selfish, it's reality. But, so this medallion was put on my ankle through the surgery, on my left ankle, through the surgery, because the heart is a little bit on the left side, and the left side of your body is your feminine receptive side of the body, and your right side of your body is your masculine active side of the body. So everything that you do has an effect on that. Even sleeping, if you sleep on the right side, if you have to sleep on your side, it's better, because your receptive side is going to take in good energy. But guess what? If you've got a partner who's having a nightmare, you will all of a sudden wake up and have to go on the other side, because you're affected by everything that comes into your body. But then if you lay on the left side, you may have less capacity to still your mind, because this active thing. So it's better to sleep on your back than on your left or your right, because there are consequences of sleeping on. So everything in yoga, there's this science about everything. And there was historically something in Islam that was very similar to the yoga practice, very, very long time ago. And I don't know whether it still exists. And that was also something very similar to the Ayurvedic medicine in the Muslim community. And some of that still exists in some places. And
actually, Muslims still, we used to take right side sleeping, because it is advised by our Prophet, Holy Prophet, that please sleep in your right side, and it is also part of his lifestyle, as known as Sunnah.
And it's because your right side, it becomes active. It is the activity in the mind, and the body wants to. If you sleep on your left side, you can end up with things like leg tremors and twitching in the pain in the leg, because there may be some activity that you're not aware of. It's very interesting, the science that our ancient peoples had.
It is proven by the science today.
First superior to the science now. And people who aren't coming from an older culture, they don't understand any of this, or they, like me, had to go back and learn all of this. And the more I learn, I'm like, oh my God. Like when I learned a little bit about Hinduism and I went into a temple, I didn't know why they went around the way they did. So I asked. And most Muslims don't. They just follow. Most Hindus don't. They just follow everybody around. They don't ever ask why, what they're doing. This is why it's so important. The difference between Hindus and Muslims is that Muslims are more questioning. It's like, why am I doing this? They are really asking more questions. And Hindus don't get to that point of asking questions about what they're doing with their religious practice until much later in life. And then by that time, they're not around the priests who could answer those questions. They should have asked them when they were young. And I find, like, because I lived around so many Bengalis, I had this one little girl who's 13 years old. She's 14 now. Her name is Sumaya. She's such a sweet little girl. I had known her since she was 3 years old. And it was so sad. They had lived in Montreal before, and my first encounters with the kids just loved me automatically. And it's because of my energy, not because of I'm a yoga person, but because of my energy. The kids just loved me. Sumaya very connected to me, but so was her brother, who is a little older, and he has autism, very extreme autism, and he's brilliant. He's brilliant. Every child with autism is brilliant with regards to something, and his thing was language. So when I wanted to learn Hindi, guess who helped me a little bit getting started? Oh, well, you don't want to learn this. You don't want to learn that. You want to learn this. You don't want to go into Hindustani. You don't want to this. And he went on and on for 5 minutes about what I should do, what I should avoid doing. And boom, I'm like, okay, I got focused right on what I needed to research in order to get going. So I learned Hindi on my own from Canada before I went, on my own.
Now, actually, you are right that Muslims are usually more questioning than the Hinduism and other religions. It is also inspired in the scripture. Please read.
I knew there had to be a reason.
Yeah.
But it's really funny. Like, I was born questioning too. Like, it's just like, if I don't understand something, I don't ask a question, how will I ever understand?
Yeah.
I think that's something that comes from the Abrahamic faiths a little bit.
Yeah.
A different understanding. I think Hindus are much more timid, and they're like, they're much more timid. I don't know why, but they seem to be much more timid. And what I had studied more in their scriptures is more about the yoga, where it comes from, how it helps. And what's very interesting is that a lot of people, I don't want to do yoga because it's so young people doing all this and blah, blah, blah. But in the scriptures, what I found was that yoga was created by older men who, at the end of their life, were starting to get to the point where in Hinduism, they believe that at the end of your life, you must reach your spiritual attainment. So when they get older, they leave their family and they go up into the mountains and they spend time meditating, trying to figure out what it is that they're supposed to have learned all along spiritually.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't understand that. So they spend their whole life trying to just living their life. And it's not that they don't pay attention to religion, but at the end of their life, this is what used to happen. It was that they would go and try and find whatever their connection is to God, which I feel you should find from the time you were a child. You should find that what is within you, that is your connection to God, is very important. Allah, whatever, because it's the same thing.
Actually, Muslims, they are asked to pray 5 times in a day and try to connect themselves with the God, with Allah, and also the meditation. You said it is a part and parcel of Islam religion. There is a specific group called Sufism. They always meditate themselves. So they always practice meditation in the early morning, after the sunset, and various times.
I can't remember where they were from. Some people come to do this Sufi spinning thing. And we went to this place. It was really cool. Really big place. Had to be really big because there was, I think, 10 whirling dervishes performing all at once. And then they taught us how to do it. It is really neat. It is really neat.
So in this case, I have a question for you. According to you, or you study, you research, your background, what are the positive impact or what are the benefits of yoga for human health, specifically the health benefit of yoga?
Like I said, I was born with a heart issue and had open heart surgery as a child. They basically gave me a 70% chance of not living through the surgery. So before that even happened, my teacher in India, who I didn't even know was going to be my teacher, he was just a neighbor who was the local fire chief, had basically told me that you're going to have a surgery when you're older. And he thought it would be much older, probably. And you're going to have to do some yoga to correct things in your body. And basically that's what it does. It corrects anything that goes wrong in your body. And when things are corrected in your body, then your nervous system works better. Your nervous system runs up and down your spine. So yoga is really all about your spine. and the energy flowing up and down your spine. But it's also about balancing all the muscles around that, because your spine cannot be in the right position if the muscles are out of balance. So if we're sitting like this, what happens to the spine is it goes like that in a C curve. If you're going like this, then all of a sudden you have an S curve. So everybody has slight imbalances in their body based on what they do in the course of a day. If I pick up my phone, especially if I've got an office phone and I'm sitting at the desk and I'm going like this and I'm leaning like this and I'm doing that for 8 hours a day, plus I'm on my computer and all of that, my body contorts. When your body contorts, then you have to do something at least the same amount of time to correct that. So if you're leaning this way all day, then you have to lean the other way.
Yeah.
And you have to spend a good amount of time doing that. And you have to go into what you're feeling on that other side. And you do the same on where are you feeling. So it isn't just about doing a series of asanas. It can be as simple as doing this one little exercise, which I can show you, which is not against any Islam rules or anything to do, is simply to sit in a chair, or you could sit cross-legged on the floor, whatever you want. And you take your hands and you just place them down on your knees. And you take a nice deep breath in and you lengthen through your spine, and then you drop your shoulders and relax them. And then you think about your head becoming heavy like a rock, and you just relax the back of your neck. And as soon as you start to relax the back of the neck, you can feel if there's a little bit of a pull in the muscles on one side or the other. And then if you continue to relax it down, rounding out your back, you'll start to feel more muscles pulling in the body. Yes. And you can feel things all the way down into your hip and stuff like that. So you can go all the way down to the point where you're bringing your elbows into your knees, like the inside of your knees, like that. And and you release more and more and more, and you breathe. And you can even, while you're doing this, you could even be praying, going, Allah, help me get rid of whatever this tension is, and help me to not continue to build this tension in my body the same way. You know what I mean? Because you will have the same tensions nearly every day. Yeah. And if you don't release them out of the body through a movement and through some sort of manner of relaxing the body, then they just continue to build and build and build. This is why the physical prayer is so important.
Actually, in Islam, we pray 5 times in a day, and all the positions you have mentioned here, we have in our prayer.
I know. I know.
All the positions. Yeah. All the positions you mentioned here.
Specifically that,